We are finally going to wrap this thing up. Before we get much further, I just want to admit that I, the great Mitchell, made a mistake. The exhaust is supposed to go under that cross member. Oops. It was an easy enough fix though. I guess I got lucky because they just broke off from the headers very easily and just slipped right back in from the bottom. Alright, now that's out of the way, onward with the build. And starting with the grills, there's absolutely gonna be no order of assembly. Just whichever part had dry paint first got installed next. Now this part I intended to talk about for a little while. You see in the top left corner there, that's how this thing goes together. I don't know why, but it gave me some fits, and I eventually got it, and I felt so stupid that I didn't include the explanation. So here it is being installed. For all the newcomers, I would just like to let you know that I love to use Sharpies to tint all my clear parts. It dries transparent enough to be convincing, and when it's dry, it's there forever. It's not ever gonna leak off or bleed through or anything weird. So I could glue it up all I want and it's gonna stay there forever. Now off camera, I just colored in the headlight bucket with the Molotow chrome pen. Now I'm going to use my favorite UV resin to install these. I put just a tiny dollop in each of the four corners. And that's it. It's never gonna fog up. It's never gonna fall off and break free because I glued it to paint. It's there forever. And I know I mentioned it earlier, but this stuff does not do anything weird when it interacts with Sharpie. What you see right now is going to be the same end result. And it is still transparent enough for that UV light to penetrate. We did have a bit of a problem though. The orange Sharpie and the red Sharpie I used, well, you can't tell a difference. So it all just kind of just looks red. Trust me though, the side markers are orange. Speaking of mistakes, I made another one. However, this one ended up kind of being in my favor. These side windows are supposed to be glued in before that shelf thing, but since it's there, it allowed me just to wedge in the windows and they're held in with friction, and they're not going anywhere. They don't rattle, they fit well, and was honestly the easiest part of this whole build. This part does have a radiator print on it, however, you can't see it through the vent, so I didn't really want to install it. But knowing Revell, that hook thing there will probably be used later. Better safe than sorry. Just going to install some of the smaller parts now. Talk to you guys in a bit. Now the mounts that I'm pointing at here on the side of this roll cage bit, they hold these extensions that hold the rear bonnet up. So if you install them, your bonnet will be permanently mounted open, and I don't display mine open, so I didn't install it. And speaking of the bonnet, I got it temporarily taped in place here because the window contains the hinge thing that allows it to open and close. Just make sure that they go over the two little tabs there and you'll be fine. And you've heard me in the past say to never ever use super glue on a clear part. There is one exception. That exception being that you use a very tiny amount of it and in a place that will never be seen by human eyes. Or a singular cyclops eye. Basically anything that's capable of vision. Now just hold it in place until it dries. Right now the windshield's a bit floppy, so let's get that a little more secure. I'm going to cut away here real quick because for some reason that was leaking and that lid did not want to come off. Anywho, just like the headlights and taillights, I'm going to do just a very tiny dollop in each of the corners here. I'm going to use a toothpick to force that around a bit, just a little bit bigger footprint for it to grab onto. I still don't know how long I'm supposed to hold this light on it to let it dry. It says 5-second fix, but maybe if I hold it on longer, it'll get stronger. I still need to do some testing. And just the center section is the only thing supposed to be gold. I don't know why I painted the whole wheel. I do weird things when I get tired. Luckily, the barrel of the wheel, it is the same diameter all the way through, so I'm going to make myself a little template here. That heater blowing warm air on me still continues to haunt me. Now, using some Tester's metallic silver that I thinned out to shoot through my airbrush, I'm just going to paint the outside of that rim. And at the time, I didn't realize my big old man hand would be blocking the entire view. So I'm sorry. You can still kind of see what I'm doing, but I'll do better next time. I painted all 4 plus the center locks in the same fashion. These attach to the screw kind of weird, so when you snip them off, just make sure you keep that hexagon shape. Just the very center of them gets a little tiny bit of black paint. Using my space here, I just held the tires in front of them a little bit to make them flexible and stretchy. Otherwise, they would not have stretched over the wheel. They still fought me, but before I put them in front of the heater, they were as hard as a rock, and I really thought that they were gonna break. Alright, just do that 3 more times. Ah, why? Alright, nobody move. Now, even though there was a few layers of paint on both the hubs and that center lock, these were still extremely loose. I don't play with these like a toy, so I don't care if they roll, so I just glued these in. Once they're all installed, I just set it on a flat surface and do a level check with it. You just press down on each wheel, and if there's any wobble to it, then it is out of level. We're good here. If you assemble this the same way I did, this will just pop into place. The whole assembly kind of just floats in there. You could still slide it just a little bit left and right, but that's okay. Despite my suspicions, that hook does absolutely nothing. Now, a bit ago, I said all this will fall into place just as easily for you as long as you follow my assembly, and that includes skipping that step. The instructions want you to glue that to the nose piece, and then install this entire assembly at what would normally be this stage to lock the chassis in. And since I wanted to make painting easier and line all those decals up, I skipped that step and opted to glue it in now. And it worked out just fine. That is it. This is officially done. I'm going to take the tape off that bonnet and get some photos going. So I took about 30 photos. I was going through, pick out the best ones to load on the Instagram. Then I realized I forgot to install the mirrors. I nailed them perfectly first try. Yay for me. And it is done, for real this time. And I just want to thank you all again for watching and sticking by me as I struggle with this build. There were some pros and definitely a lot of cons with this build, but in the end it came together to look good enough to sit on the shelf with the rest of them. Now stay tuned, because I am going to immediately start another competition build. I'll give you a hint. It's a Ferrari.